From the pages of the Big Book of Wrestling, May 1976, we plunge headfirst into an era where the word outlaw wasn't a gimmick, it was a badge of honor. A time when bloodied scalps meant success, referees got scalped themselves, and the only thing that mattered was who left the arena under their own power. This wasn't the sanitized, corporate, spotlight soaked version of wrestling you'd find on television today. This was barbed wire charisma. This was red ink storytelling. This was war under fluorescent lights. And who better to stand at the center of it all than the Sheik? Not a sheik in name only, but a fire-breathing menace who bowed to Mecca before tearing your forehead open with a pencil. The first major story in the magazine says it all. Who else? The Sheik tops the 10 Dirtiest Wrestlers poll. That's not just a headline, it's a prophecy. Fans feared him. Promoters tolerated him. And his opponents? They bled. The Sheik is remembered here not for his victories, but for the bodies he left behind. He turned the squared circle into a prayer rug of pain. He bit Luis Martinez's nose clean off at Madison Square Garden and then calmly walked away while fans climbed over each other trying to escape. One photo shows him dragging fire across Fred Curry's face. There's no story here that ends with a handshake, only scars. But the Sheik was far from alone. The rest of the top 10 Dirtiest Wrestlers is a who's who of savagery. Dick the Bruiser, Oxbaker, Johnny Valentine, Pampero Firpo, The Crusher, Ray Gunkel, Bobby Heenan, The Mongols, Ernie Ladd, and the Masked Superstar. Each man a villain, each man a myth. Oxbaker is portrayed as a killer with a punch that stops hearts. Johnny Valentine's quote is terrifying in its simplicity. I don't want to beat you, I want to hurt you. Pampero Firpo howls at the moon and carries a shrunken head. Dick the Bruiser once fought an entire bar of patrons and walked away, the only one still standing. The magazine treats them like anti-heroes, draped not in gold, but in gore. And if you think this was just hype, the next feature puts it to the test. The Wrestling Quiz, a sharp 10-question gauntlet that challenges fans to prove they aren't just bloodthirsty, they're informed. It asks who's held the most titles, who pioneered which holds, and tests your recall on past feuds that define the generations. In just a few paragraphs, the magazine teaches you that knowledge is power, even in a world ruled by chaos. That leads us to Old Street Fighters Never Die, they just punch away. A deep dive into the unsanctioned showdown between Dick the Bruiser and Oxbaker. This was no ordinary match. It was a sanctioned mugging. No tights, no rules, street clothes only. The objective was to strip your opponent of his dignity and his wardrobe. Bruiser slams Baker into the steel post, biting and clawing, while Baker retaliates with rib-breaking rights. Fans didn't sit and watch. They screamed, begged, pleaded for it to end, but it didn't. Because in this era, the match didn't end when the bell rang. It ended when someone stopped moving. But maybe the most shocking match isn't even a match. It's a moment. A loss of control. A headline that reads, "The night the wrestlers shaved the referee's head. Jose Lothario and El Gran Markus were at war. A partnership shattered, a feud that made the Texas air itself feel combustible. But it was referee Gene Garcia who paid the price. In a moment of madness, both wrestlers turned on the official and shaved his head in the middle of the ring. The crowd rioted. Some say they threw chairs. Others say they tried to storm the ring. Garcia walked out with no hair, no respect, and no clue what just happened. So this wasn't just a match. It was wrestling's answer to a public stoning. From there, we take a breath, but just barely. In Why Women Go Wild Over Powers of Mat Men, we get a rare glimpse of how the charisma of pro wrestling wasn't just for the men in the audience. Dusty Rhodes, Don Morocco, and even the Mongols are spotlighted not just for their bodies, but their presence. It's a piece equal parts sociology and swooning fan letter. Wrestling, we're reminded, isn't just violence. It's romance. A sweaty, suplex-filled seduction. The magazine continues with a beautiful surprise. Sam Muchnick helped Harry Truman keep the White House. In this historical sidetrack, the NWA president is credited with mobilizing St. Louis wrestling fans to help Truman win re-election in 1948. The Kiel Auditorium becomes a campaign hub. The world's most powerful promoter becomes a political fixer. It's a wild twist in the tale of wrestling's influence beyond the mat. We then enter the global theater with the international mat scene, where Nick Bockwinkel and Ray Stevens drop their belts. Don Muraco debuts in Texas, and Wahoo McDaniel wins gold in the Southern Territories. This feature reminds us that wrestling isn't local, it's global, and it's always moving. That leads us to Tokyo, Japan, where two legends write their own chapter. Verne Gagne versus Billy Robinson, a battle of technique and tenacity. 5,000 fans watch these masters exchange holds, reversals, suplexes, and strikes in a clinic of wrestling perfection. Gagne took the first fall via sleeper after over 20 minutes of hold-for-hold brilliance. Robinson answered with a stunning suplex. But during a final barrage of drop kicks, both men fell, hard. Gagne was knocked unconscious. Robinson's neck was twisted and paralyzed. The referee counted to 20. No winner. But to the Japanese crowd, it didn't matter. They had just witnessed a masterpiece. You want more? You got it. The centerfold delivers the pain in grayscale. Fighting photos. A spread of battle-scarred legends frozen in time. Mid-body slam, mid-bleed, mid-scream. Every photo is a time capsule of brutality. And just when you think you've hit the peak, the magazine closes with the Battle of Giants, a retrospective on Yukon Eric versus Hercules Cortez. Two living mountains, one clash of titans, no winner, just awe. Cortez with his chiseled frame, Eric with his bare strength and tragic future. This was myth turned motion. And there's even room for the Patriot comic strip, drawn by a young Jerry Lawler, proving that even the king was once a hungry artist with a pen and a dream. So what did the big book of wrestling, made 1976, give us? Pain, poetry, politics, pandemonium. From the Sheik's scorched earth reign to Bruiser's bar fights, from Billy Robinson's precision to Sam Muchnick's legacy, this isn't just a magazine, it's a shrine. And if you're reading this, you've been baptized in blood and newsprint. So like, share, and subscribe. Because this is more than nostalgia. This is a record, a roar, a ritual. This was from the pages.